This is the Fiido Titan, and as you can see, it is a mammoth of a bike, very large, and it's the first out of these larger bikes with 26-inch wheels and the 4-inch fat tires that I've covered that has a torque sensor, would you believe it or not. All the other ones I've covered, they're all speed sensors, and this gives you much better power delivery. It's smoother, it's more efficient. Now the Titan does have a 750 watt rear hub motor that can peak at 1150 watts. Great brakes on this bike too. They are 203 millimeters, the discs, hydraulic disc brakes, and the calipers, well, they're a little bit different. They're from Iceland, and they are 4-piston calipers, so we get great performance here when it comes to the brakes. Now, as you can see, there's a front shock. Now, this has 60 millimeters of travel. We've got a 9-speed setup here, and being a cargo e-bike, you do get the bike rack here that can handle up to 80 kilos, rider weight of 120 kilos. And this model here, it's removable batteries locked into place via the app. That's right, there's no physical key used with it. It's the Bluetooth application to log in and then unlock, and then you can remove that battery. Now the range they claim Fiido, you can get up to 135 kilometers from the single 14.5 amp hour battery, 48 volt system too, by the way, but you can also get an additional 2 batteries that you'll slot into the special rack, and that gives you then a range of, they claim then, up to 400 if you're going to be swapping between and using all 3 of those batteries. So you can see from the grease marks here that you get a decent amount of travel out of this front shock. It's very robust, it doesn't rattle, doesn't make any annoying noises. I know it's not a rock shock there or Fox or anything, a well-known brand, but it does the job, and we do get 60 millimeters of travel. And this front shock can be locked out completely. It's adjustable. You've got anywhere in between, or completely locked out, or completely unlocked. I don't know when you'd actually want to lock that, but hey, at least we have that option. Called an S-Ride here. It's a 9-speed setup, and personally, I would have preferred to have seen a more known brand like Shimano for our gears. The cassette ranges from 11 teeth with our highest gear to 36 our lowest. And the chainring has 42 teeth. Fiido's used an unknown brand of pedals. They are made out of alloy, and the build of them is good. Really, I have no complaints. Standard looking kickstand here. I've seen this model used across many of these Chinese e-bikes that I review and cover. It does the job, supports the bike's 38 kilos well, but it does rattle sometimes when I go over some very rocky, bumpy road. That's a very minor complaint from me. So the welds and the frame finish do look excellent. You can see the machine welds around here. Everything is very solid. I feel no flex in the frame at all. And what looks like a mid-drive here isn't, in fact. So there are these plastic covers here that will house inside there our controller for the bike. So that's where it is located. And right here is our torque sensor. This is the best part about the bike, I think, is having a torque sensor finally instead of speed sensors on these larger bikes. Battery can be charged out of the bike or within the bike here. And you can see there's a little cap here to cover where the charge port is. And our charge time for this 48 volt battery that is 14.5 amp hours is around 6 to 7 hours. So make sure you charge it overnight, and that way you've got a fresh new battery in the morning ready for your ride. Our front hub, as you can see, does not have a quick release, sadly. But we do get a quick release for the seat, of course, which is pretty standard here. So rider height from 150 centimeters to 200 centimeters. The seat from Velo is very comfortable, nice and spongy. The Titan uses plastic mud guards, which is good because they don't rattle and transmit as much noise. You don't have to worry about stone chips, corrosion, rust, or any of those kind of problems with them. And they keep the weight down a little. Now the tail light, very good. Standard kind of reflector with the built-in LEDs. It's a 2-stage light as well, and it's sufficient enough. Adds a little bit of safety there, and great that it is included with the bike rack, which can handle up to 80 kilos of weight. The Titan does have a mounting point for a bottle holder. Then our headlight, this is from a brand called Waxing. I've seen their lights on different models, and it's called the Star Union, this particular light here, and very good. The brightness of it's great. It lights up the path ahead of you really well. Great for safety, and it does have a reflector below it. So on the left side here, we do have our headlight, mode switch, horn. This is to change the pedal assist levels, and our front brake lever, which feels very good, those Dyson brake levers, and they are adjustable, which is good to see. On the right, we have our gear selector, then your throttle too, which is a push down style, and the rear brake. And they have used lock grips here, which is good to see. These do not spin around, very firm, nice and comfortable. That brings me on to the bike screen. So we've got the mode switch here, power on, up and down pedal assist levels. There are 5 in total, and our screen very clear. You can see your remaining battery life there, the gauge, speed and what level you're in, and you can also cycle through and show different modes on the screen. Our battery is located here in the frame where it is quite a lot thicker. Now to remove the battery, you remove the cover on the outside first, you go into the app and unlock it, and then you need to slot it out. But what I find is it's very difficult to get that battery out to remove it. It's so tricky. I had to use a screwdriver last time to pull it out, and right now I don't have a screwdriver with me, so I can't pull this out. I want to keep it in place. It's very solid in place there, however. It doesn't rattle. It's just removing it is a bit of a task. And our brand of tyre, well, they are the CST and the Adventure model, which is one I haven't actually reviewed before. They seem to be pretty good. Not quite as knobbly the tread pattern as some of the others. Now onto the fun part. What is it like to ride the Fiido Titan? Well, a very comfortable bike, really large, so caters to rider heights of 150 centimeters up to 200 centimeters. And the first thing you notice about it is that it looks different. Now those fat wheels, it makes it stand out a lot, and it has been getting a lot of attention. I've had a lot of people stop and ask me, what bike is that? What is it like to ride? And just so many people are very curious about it. But riding position, very good, very comfortable, upright riding position. Seat is nice and wide, that Velo seat, as I pointed out before. It's very good, really do like it, really comfortable. Now we've got our throttle here, so you can use that. I've got it locked down to 25 kilometers per hour at the moment, so just pressing down on that, away I go. Or start pedaling, of course, and we've got that torque sensor. And this is the first of the 26-inch fat wheel e-bikes, these large ones, that I've covered that does have the torque sensor, which is really good because a lot of them are just missing that. And you do notice it. So suspension at the front works really well, and that torque sensor, the more you give it, the more it will give you in return, and it cuts in and out really good. And it doesn't just give you that full power straight away like the speed sensors do. You kind of get thrown back a little bit with some of them because of the power of them, because it just goes to 100% power or off. But with the torque sensor, it varies, and it makes it a lot more efficient too. So riding along now, very smooth, upright, comfortable. I do like it. Big bike, you feel the weight, you especially feel it on the front of it. It's not a playful bike or anything like that. It's a cargo cruiser, really, is what this bike's designed for. Now the gears, the changes are very good, even though it is not Shimano we have here. I've had no problems changing those gears. Very smooth, accurate, no jumping about with those gears. And this gentle climb now, very easy. It handles it with ease with our 750 watt motor. Now the motor, you can hear it a little bit now that I don't have that much traffic around. I wouldn't call this a quiet motor. It makes a bit of a unique whiny kind of noise that you do pick up on. And you get a little bit of noise from those tires, which are knobbly of course and have poor rolling resistance. Now top speed of the bike is 25 kilometers per hour locked down, but you can go well over that if you unlock it. But by law here, I'm limited to 25, so I can't really show that. And of course you're going to get better range keeping it limited to that 25 kilometers per hour. So if I pedal really hard, push it as hard as I can on the flat here, I've got a top speed without the motor now helping me of only around 28 kilometers per hour. Because of the weight of it, it is pretty hard to get up to higher speeds there without that motor helping me. So here we are at my climb test spot. Now this is a 20 degree to 25 degree climb. It's quite steep, it gets a little bit steeper up ahead. Now I'm just using the torque sensor and I don't have it set in the right gear, but I wanted to demonstrate first is just using the throttle. I won't pedal at all. And look at this, climbs with absolute ease. It really is a champion at climbing, this bike. Climbs a lot better than I thought. So up to about 17 kilometers per hour. This is in the Turbo Plus setting. Now if I start pedaling, I can get up to higher speeds now, and it really is quite easy. I'm not struggling with this at all, and remember I do have it locked to 25 kilometers per hour. If you've got it unlocked, you can have even more power. So it's 750 watts nominal, however peaks at 1150 watts, and it's got 70 newton meters of torque. So that's a lot of power. That's why it climbs so well. So it climbs really well, but what about when you turn the motor off? So I've got it in Turbo Plus at the moment. This is an absolute breeze, but put it down now into 0. There we go. Oh boy, you notice that straight away. The weight of the bike It's 40 kilos. It's a lot, and I'm in the lowest gear. I can do this but it is a lot of work, really hard work to get up this climb here. And what is the Titan like off-road? Now, I wouldn't take such a heavy bike like this with this suspension down on these serious downhill trails, so you're just gonna be asking for trouble. It's not designed for that anyway, but because we've got those fat tires 4 inches wide, they're quite soft. It handles this kind of stuff really well. So just light rocky trails like this, it's not a problem. Even a few larger little stones around. And you can hear the kickstand. Kickstand is banging around a little bit there. That's what that noise is. It's not the battery rattling, but the kickstand. And I see how the handle going down a bit of a drop here. I normally do this with a 29-inch full suspension bike, but it handled that just fine. Suspension doing its job. So range of this bike is a little bit better than I thought it was going to be, considering it's a heavy bike, 38 kilos, and well, it does have those large fat wheels. However, they're 26-inch wheels, so the larger they are, the better kind of range you can typically get. And because of that torque sensor, it's a lot more efficient. It's not always just full power every time you go to pedal with the pedal assist. Now I stuck to the turbo mode and just that level when I was riding around doing my tests, and I got just close to 78 kilometers. Now I could have pushed it a little bit more, but I wanted to get home and not have to push it up the hill. So that's excellent, I think, from a 14.5 amp hour battery. Now Fiido's claim is 135 from a single charge if you use the eco mode. And of course, it's going to depend on your rider weight, the terrain, and how many climbs you do have. But overall, I'm impressed with the ride of this bike, the kind of range you can get out of it. And if you did buy those additional 2 batteries and the special bike rack for it, then you can just go around swapping those batteries over and you can get really an amazing range out of this. And you've got the cargo capacity. You could put also the front bike rack on there too as well. Braking performance, one of the best that I've come across, really good. And on my braking test, I was a little bit naughty there because I went 35 kilometers per hour instead of my typical 30 in the test. So it should have been even better than what I showed you, but as it was, very good. Yes, it's easy to lock up the rear. These have a lot of power, these calipers, so you've got to be a little bit extra careful there in the wet, I feel. The gears, they work fine, and overall the build quality, the frame, it's a good bike. This one definitely gets a thumbs up from me if you're after this style. Now, of course, it's not going to be for downhill or anything like that. It is designed for long range, cargo style e-bike here. So I'm Chris, and this here is the Fiido Titan. Thanks a lot for watching.